The forest stood silent, cloaked in a shroud of snow. Ancient pines, their branches heavy with ice, loomed over the path. A path seldom traveled, barely a scratch on the face of the wilderness. It was a path unknown to Michael, a detour from his intended route, an act of desperation born from the sudden blizzard. He had been hiking for hours, the familiar landmarks swallowed by the swirling snow. The map, useless now, crinkled in his numb fingers. His breath rose in ragged plumes, each exhalation a tiny cloud of warmth against the biting wind. Just when his hope began to dwindle, he saw it, a flicker of warm light through the trees. Hope surged, tinged with a sliver of unease. The map had shown no structures, no signs of civilization in this part of the woods. Yet, there it was. A cabin, small and dark, a single window glowing like an ember against the white landscape. Hesitantly, Michael stepped off the trail, his boots sinking into the pristine snow. He approached the cabin, each step bringing him closer to the warmth, closer to the unknown. A shiver ran down his spine, a primal instinct warning him away. But the blizzard raged on, and the lure of shelter proved too strong to resist. The cabin door, made of rough-hewn logs, creaked open with a groan. The scent of wood smoke and something old, something almost forgotten, wafted out to greet him. Stepping inside, Michael felt a wave of relief wash over him as he escaped the icy grip of the storm. The cabin's interior was small, a single room dominated by a stone fireplace where a fire crackled merrily, casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls. A heavy wooden table sat in the center of the room, two chairs pulled up to it as if awaiting a meal. A thick layer of dust covered everything, undisturbed, hinting at a long absence. A wave of dizziness struck Michael, the sudden warmth after the biting cold sending a chill through his body. He leaned against the door, eyes scanning the room, taking in the strange juxtaposition of abandonment and recent habitation. On the table, next to a half-finished candle, lay a leather-bound journal, its pages slightly ajar, as if recently read. The silence of the cabin pressed in on him, broken only by the crackling fire and the howl of the wind outside. It was the silence of a place long unvisited. Yet somehow, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. Drawn by a strange compulsion, Michael moved towards the table, his fingers brushing the worn leather of the journal. He opened it, the brittle pages whispering their secrets into the stillness of the cabin. The first few entries were mundane, a record of supplies, weather observations, the simple routines of daily life in the wilderness. The handwriting was elegant, almost feminine, each letter carefully formed. As Michael delved deeper into the journal, he noticed a change in the writer's tone. The entries became shorter, more frantic, the neat script dissolving into hurried scratches. Fear seeped from the pages, staining the words with a palpable sense of dread. "The woods are not silent," one entry read, the ink splotched as if a tear had fallen upon it. "Something watches from the trees. I can feel its eyes on me, even in the daylight." A cold finger traced Michael's spine as he read the words, his own unease growing with each turn of the page. The writer, a woman named Sarah, wrote of strange noises in the night, shadows that seemed to move at the edge of her vision. She spoke of a growing sense of dread, a feeling of being hunted, of being watched. Hours slipped by as Michael sat hunched over the journal, the storm raging outside forgotten. He was captivated by Sarah's words, his imagination painting vivid pictures of her isolation, her growing terror. He felt a strange kinship with this woman he'd never met, a shared sense of vulnerability in the face of the wilderness's indifference. He paused in his reading, suddenly aware of a prickling sensation on the back of his neck. It was the feeling of being watched, the same unsettling sensation that Sarah had described in her journal. He slowly raised his head, his gaze drawn instinctively to the window. The fire had burned low, casting the room in a flickering, uncertain light. The wind howled outside, throwing shadows that danced and writhed against the snow-covered landscape beyond the glass. For a moment, he saw nothing unusual, just the swirling snow and the dark silhouettes of the trees. Then he saw it. A figure, tall and gaunt, standing at the edge of the trees. It was just a fleeting glimpse, a shadow swallowed by the darkness as quickly as it had appeared. But it was enough. Enough to send a jolt of fear through Michael's heart, enough to make him question his sanity.